I think one thing for me that has always helped me and guided me is to really believe that I can do it. Believe in my dreams. Believe that I always feel like I always had the vision, because since I was a little girl, I always knew what I wanted.
That's Natalia Trejos and Natalia Trejos-Herrera, and this is the Powerful Ladies Podcast. Hey guys, I'm your host, Cara Duffy, and in this episode, I am so proud to bring you two powerful women, two powerful sisters, and a powerful duo, Carolina Trejos and Natalia Trejos-Herrera, founders of Pinkafé, the platform, the podcast, and the TV show. We discuss their journey to the US, where they find the confidence to be entrepreneurial and chase their dreams, and why it matters that more women know they are magic, they are capable, and they are not alone. That is also why I created my Thrive membership. You can create your dream business. You can live your dream life. Join us for weekly coaching sessions, monthly business and empowerment workshops, and join a global community of women stepping into their power, living authentically, and as you'll hear more about in this episode, learning to fly. You can join at thepowerfulladies.com. Well, welcome to the Powerful Ladies Podcast.
Thank you so much for having us.
I'm really excited to have you guys today. We have lots of powerful women, and we've had power couples on, but this is our first power sister couple that we get to have on the podcast.
Amazing. We're very excited.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Of course. Let's begin. Please tell everyone who you are and what you're up to. We can start with Carolina.
Okay. Well, thank you, Cara, for having us on the Powerful Ladies podcast. I am a journalist. I am born and raised in Colombia, and I'm the co-founder of Pinkafé, a platform for women where we're also telling women's stories. And I co-host it with my sister.
Hello, everyone. I'm Natalia Trejos-Herrera, and I am an actress and a producer, and I co-produce the TV show and podcast with my sister, Carolina, who is also here, and I'm very, very excited to be here.
Well, and you guys have such a fascinating story, right? Going from Colombia, then I believe stopping in Ecuador, and then coming to the US. Is that correct? Okay.
That's
making
right.
sure I have my homework done correctly.
Yes.
So since was coming to the US always part of your dream or your story, or did that happen by circumstance?
Coming to the US was really not our decision. It was our parents' decision, because we came when we were still teenagers. Mm-hmm. And our parents, we were in Ecuador at the moment, and they got the opportunity from my aunt, who was already here like 20 years before, we came. And she's like, there's an opportunity to come to the US for a better life for your daughters. And at that moment in Ecuador, Ecuador was going through like a crisis, economic crisis. And then my dad was like, oh my God, this is the opportunity. And then they just, told us to pretty much pack our bags, and then we're going to the United States. And when he said that, the only thing we kind of knew about United States was Britney Spears, Backstreet Boys, and Disney World. So we were learning songs like one more time. Like, we didn't know English, and we thought we were going to Disney World. So we're like, okay, Then we came here, and we never went back. That's the story.
And have you
that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, have you gotten to meet Britney Spears or the Backstreet Boys yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
No.
Okay.
I've written a lot of stories about them, but in my entertainment journalist background, I've written so many stories about them. And I was like, one time I was writing a story about Britney Spears and, this situation that she was going through. And I was like, wow, I remember when I used to listen to Britney Spears and I didn't even know English. We were just kind of, like my sister said, just
ad-libbing
or trying to just sing along. But then that was actually, at least for me, what helped me to learn a little bit of English, just like reading the lyrics, singing the songs. So yeah, I guess she plays a really big part in, in our background.
Yeah, we learn English with them. With them, I think, and even with Genie in the Bottle, Christina Aguilera at the same time. I think J-Lo also came out with her album around that time, and we were like figuring out the words. We basically we knew a little bit because our parents were always like, I don't know if they had the vision, they didn't tell us, but they were like, study English in the weekends, da da da. And then we're like, okay, she's practicing tennis, she's cooking, like little things like that, and we kind of knew some verbs and words. And then we kind of started putting it together with the songs and then with the dictionary trying to find the meaning of these words. And then it was pretty interesting that after everything came together when we came here, like within 6 months, Carolina was running. Like she was like little bilingual. And then I took a little longer. That's why I have a thicker accent than Carolina, because I came right at the end of high school. So I didn't really come to high school here. Carolina was able to come 4 years in high school. So she became more like proper bilingual. I'm still working on it. Thank you. Yeah.
You know, when you guys are doing so much, excuse me, you guys are doing so much. You have the company together, you're entrepreneurs, you have other things you're doing. You know, is that how you were raised? Is that how your family is? Like, do you come from a family of entrepreneurs and people who do all these things and kind of like live into basically whatever it is that is calling to you all at once? Or is that unique to the two of you and your family?
I'll take this one. I think our parents are very entrepreneurial. My dad was always in sales. He was always the motivational speaker. He was always the one that was wanting to move forward. That's why I think we are still okay with moving from city to city, from country to country, and starting over, because my dad, I think that was kind of ingrained in our heart, in our brain, in our soul, ever since our dad taught us to, hey, we're picking up our bags and moving to a new country, from Colombia to Ecuador, from Ecuador to the States. And my mom also has a very entrepreneurial spirit. She was also, very organized. She was all about business and also being right there with my dad, just kind of like pushing it. My dad would be like, okay, I have this new idea, we can move. And my mom was like, let's go, vamos, let's go for it. And she was always there. So both of them were really like, okay, we're starting over, no worries, let's go. So I think both of us kind of got that spirit in us. Okay, it's okay to start something new. It's okay to start a new project, or even quit your job. Or if you're not content with how your career path is going right now, it's okay to just completely start a new career. So I think, yeah, our parents peppered a little bit of their entrepreneurial spirit in us. And I think that's why even Pinkafé was born from my mom's passion for design and passion for getting women together. And so, yeah, definitely I say that we get it from our parents.
Yeah. Yeah. Same.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I think that our education was really, in a way, multicultural, and also like really like with a lot of variety. We moved from country to country, from city to city, and within the city, especially in Guayaquil, in Ecuador, we went through like 8 different schools, with elementary and then high school. And then we came here, we also went through another 4 or 5 different schools and cities, and within Chicago when we came. I think all of that, we were kind of like grabbing skills and knowledge and culture from different places. And we're like, okay, what can we do now that we're in the future, sort of? What can we do with all these skills? And make something nice, make something happen. But one thing that I think our parents engraved in us, and I think to just wrap up Carolina's subject, is like always do something with purpose and deliver a message. And Carolina and I, with our careers, we're like, okay, we are, yes, we're entrepreneurs, but we're first in media, acting, producing, journalism, is always delivering these messages, but always, with a positive impact. And then I think that's our ultimate mission, just to whatever we do, it has to be with a message. And then that's what we're passionate about.
No, I had a very similar upbringing. Didn't move countries, but was in like 11 schools and moved lots of cities and states. And I can't imagine a life background not having that, because it showed me so early that like I could talk to anybody. We could go end up anywhere. Like it would be okay. Like there were so many interesting people and experiences that there's a resiliency, I think, that gets built in, to us at that young age, where it's like, it's okay. Like that whole let's do it. Because my parents have their little slogan is like, it's adventure. And so just like, your mother would be saying, vamonos, my mother would be like, it's okay, George, it's an adventure. Right. And we would just go. And I think it was always positive, right? It was never a negative connotation that we were moving again. It was like, no, like there's a new adventure, there's new experiences. Like, let's see what's over there. It may have ingrained a little bit too much of me being like, well, wait, what's over there? So, feeling like I can't sit still sometimes, but I think it's so powerful to have that, and how it does lead to an entrepreneurial perspective. Because if you can move anywhere, you can make anything, you can talk to anyone. And those really are the core fundamentals of chasing after what you want.
Definitely.
Exactly. We definitely relate with that, because we have heard, people who had sort of the same situation with different schools, and they sort of regret it, or they are, if I wish I would have had just a permanent, only one childhood in one neighborhood. And we kind of have helped them open their eyes. It's like, no, you've seen so many lives, so many aspects, so many backgrounds that use it, in your present. And we can say that a few of those people, we think that they have, something has changed, something clicked. And also other people that were like only one school, one high school, and one college, and that's it. You also see their personality and how they're maybe a little more afraid to jump in and jump out. So, at the end of the day, you have to take what works for you and then just run with it. But the most important thing is to dare and continue.
Yeah. And I feel like the dreamers and doers, or people, I guess, like us that just start something new, we're always going to be criticized. I feel like I have been criticized by my friends, kind of saying, Cara, when are you moved from New York to LA to Miami when are you going to settle? When are you going to finally, just get married and have kids and have, maybe have your own, have a job, a permanent job at a company? And at first, before I kind of gained some confidence in what I was doing, that would really get to me. But nowadays it's like, no, hey, thank you so much for your opinion. I appreciate it. But at the same time, they kind of come to me, and I'm kind of like a little bit of escape route. Like, oh, you got to do what I wanted to. You got to, travel and see so many cities, and so yeah, we're always gonna also deal with a lot of criticism. The dreamers and the entrepreneurs, but at the same time, is about following what's really in your heart.
Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I couldn't imagine not following my heart, because my heart is very persistent and loud.
Yes.
If I'm not listening, like it will let me know I am not listening. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yes. I think that's one thing that we always go by our hearts. Right now in the present, I can say that right now what we're doing and focusing on is listening to Carolina's and Natalia's heart together and joining. I'm gonna get you right. Is it okay to cry in this podcast? Okay.
Of course.
We're crying.
No, I think that right now, what we're focusing on is that, because what happened was that we were brought to the United States. We were only together we've been here 21 years, right? We came right before 2000. And we were together for like about 4 years. That beginning, learning English, understanding the mail, taxes, the street, everything that we were never introduced before, and being, young adults. And then we were separated by life. And then, I went to Miami, from Chicago to Miami, to live and pursue the beginning of my career. And then we were kind of like in Carolina stayed in high school. And then we kind of like grew apart. We grew apart for like the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years. And then just the last few years, we kind of been coming together for Pinkafé. And then, but now after Carolina left her 9 to 5, a year and a half ago, I mean, but minus the pandemic year. So really 6 months ago, because we're like,
2020 does not count.
Does not count. So it was really like November 2019 plus the months from this year. So it's like 6 months. And then right now is we're like, okay, we grew apart. And then so we're learning to know each other again. It's weird because we were treating each other like the little girls in Ecuador in the beginning of the United States. We're like, wait, you like that? Oh, I didn't know. You do these processes? Oh, I didn't. So we're going through that. And then we're like, okay, we're learning about our skills. Now let's listen to our adult hearts, women hearts. What do we really want to say? I'm married, Carolina, single. And all these things that we're kind of like getting to know and listening to our hearts. So that really touched my heart when you said that, because we're like, because I touch my heart, my heart tells me what to do, and Natalia and myself and my career with my husband or with my dreams. And same thing with Carolina. And she felt like she needed to do this, she does it. But how about both of us? And plus the purpose and the company, and we're going to touch women. And that's scary. It's all these things that is really like, it goes deeper, so.
I was just going to add that it just doesn't always happen at the first time, the first try, because we've tried to work together so many times in those period of 10 years that we were just living in different cities, living in, Natalia got married. I was moving from city to city, we're both pursuing our dreams, and still we're coming back and kept on, okay, let's work on this together. But then just life happened, and it wasn't the moment. And then years later, okay, let's try this again. And it just wasn't the moment until years later. I think it was third time's a charm. Finally, we got together, and it's like, okay, this is the moment we can both listen to each other, start getting to know each other professionally and also personally too, because we've always been very close, very, very close. But in a professional level, we have been kind of like never working together. So it's a new journey to come together and unite all of our passions and our dreams right now.
Yeah. And how great is it? I have a lot of clients who will say, should I hire my sister? Should I hire my friend? Should I hire these people that really matter to me? Because we hear these horror stories about working with family and friends. And I always tell them, I'm like, at least interview them, like put them through the same steps, because, whether it's a work thing or it's a life thing, it's all about communication. So why wouldn't you want to build your dreams with the people that you already love and trust and respect and care about? There's just a few things to put in place, right? About like really deciding relationship versus business and what comes first, and how, if you can kind of talk about how you're going to navigate through those things, why wouldn't you want to build things with your favorite people? So I'm really happy to see you guys doing that, to see clients of mine doing that, and often creating breakthrough success because people know you at a different level, right? Like you almost have not just a friend or a sister, but suddenly you have someone who can coach you at a different level because they know you, right? They can call you out when you're like, hey, I think you can be braver right now. Or, hey, like, I got this, like, you can trust me, right? Because there's so many things that come up in work where you have to be like you times 10. And when you have those people that you really trust, like you can actually rely on them and collaborate at a completely different level. What has the experience been for you guys, going from your careers and your other dreams to working together? Like, how is it different working on this together than when you worked with other people?
I can start because I have to give it to my sister. Not only I love her to death because she's so wise, such a wise woman. She's my older sister, so I listen to her a lot. But she has coached me through this process because she's always been an entrepreneur. My sister, ever since we were little, she was like, I'm going to go to Hollywood and I'm going to make movies and I'm going to make my own way, right? I was always more like, okay, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to go to college. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to get a wonderful job. I was more on the safe side always. And Nati was more entrepreneurial all the time until I started kind of like, okay, I tasted this, I tasted that. I got my wonderful corporate job, dream job. But when I was at that job, kind of at the peak of my career, I was like, okay, what else is out there for me? I want to do something more just that I'm more passionate about. I was passionate about that one job, but I wanted to also, change lives and tell stories of women, just kind of change the world. That has always been kind of like in my heart. I was like, I want to do something that's good for humanity, that's going to really create an impact. So when my sister, she was always there. She was like, hey, good job. You got this new job. Hey, what about if we start working on this project together? What about if, have you ever thought about, just starting something else or going on your own? And I had already been thinking about it. And then until I made that decision, and I said, okay, I'm going to take a leap of faith and I'm going to jump into entrepreneurship. I was like, I don't know what entrepreneurship is, but I'm going to do it. So it was so amazing to have that helping hand from my sister, just being like, hey, you can do this. And I had my times. I still have my moments that I'm like, okay, well, how do you do this? How do you do this again? How do you do planning a long time? That's one of our big things, because Natalia, her career path and her, she's a producer and an actress. They plan a way more in time, they plan ahead a lot more. Me, I've been more into breaking news and live TV and like, okay, we got to write this because it's going to be published tomorrow. Or I got to write this because we are going live in 5 hours, So I'm like used to working just to kind of like a shorter time periods. And Natalia's more, planning long term. So I feel like I have been really blessed that I've had my sister to kind of help me out in my, jumping from corporate to entrepreneurship. So thank you, sister.
You're welcome. You are very welcome. And for me, it's been a really beautiful journey. However, it's been a new one too, because same thing, very hard to separate the sister with the professional. And the respect, making sure the respect is always there, making sure that, she's respecting my boundaries and my professional skills, and then also hers, and also understanding, that we're not just the sisters at the moment of the job. And when we're working, we are two professionals. So sometimes we have had to go through the exercise. Don't take it personal in both ways. I'm not saying just Carolina, same thing with me. Don't take it personal, because I call it cold-hearted or just cold. Yeah. Like, okay, cool, thank you, bye. That's it. Like, not like, okay, love you, sister. All these things that sometimes you add to it is like, okay, when you're same thing in emails and just making things happen. It's like, sometimes in production, you are dealing with timing. So everything is like timed out. So, there's that, I think, as soon as Carolina came in and then she's like, okay, let's do this, I went too hard and just like, let's take action. And I didn't probably stop. And what you said was so powerful. I'm like, oh, that's genius. I didn't do that. Interview her so that I can take her hand and walk her through it. We kind of did, because we did job descriptions, but I don't think we were ready and we didn't pay attention all the way. Plus, it was right away when the pandemic hit. So, because she quit in November, then it's the holidays, and it's January in the beginning. February, we were kind of like breathing. And then March, the day of my birthday, March 13 is when it started. Really sad. But anyway, that's another story. And then, so we really didn't have the time or the chance to actually do all of that walkthrough. But I think right now, what we kind of like after the whole year going through pandemic / entrepreneurial, but you cannot network, you cannot do events, you cannot do anything. So it's like, okay, what are we doing? We, however, managed to still do the TV show, because thank God to the network, they pushed us. And then we already had the podcast. So, okay, those things were there, but they were a little blurry in my eyes. They were like, they're there, but not really. And then we didn't really know how to manage it, because everything blew up on us right away. We're like, we just wanted a podcast, TV show, what? All these things. Yeah. And then that's where we kind of like started learning more about each other and like, oh, so you have these skills and you have these other skills. So we started getting interested in each other. Like, okay, tell me what is planning. How do you start? Tell me what. Then I come out with the production book and then the pages and the binder and then the little drawing board. And she's like, whoa. And then I'm like, okay, teach me how is breaking news. No, you just do this, and then you do the questions and you show up and then you ask the questions to the guest. Wait. What questions? Number one, number two. Like I was just so slow. And then I'm like, oh my God, I have to appreciate her skills. And hopefully she appreciates mine. And then I think we will be a powerful couple, really.
Yeah.
So I think fast forward to now, to not make the long story short, is that we kind of like, placed, we went back to the drawing board on the job descriptions and understanding more. We did take a pause as far as like, because Pinkafé had to continue no matter what. But as far as like developing so many dreams at the same time, we're like, okay, let's do one thing at a time, develop one thing at a time. And then now we're like, okay, we are really understanding our boundaries and our own careers and when do we come together. And I think the bottom line, removing all of that, has been our love for each other. No matter what, no Pinkafé, no career, no nothing could really replace the love first. So we said in that, I don't know, we haven't like put a clock on it, but like is I'm sure it's already 100% like that we said our love for sisters is first. And no matter what, we'd rather not do Pinkafé if it's going to damage our relationship or if it's going to cause problems between us, because we'd rather be sisters first. Because it's also our parents and then our families, it's all these things. It's like we are in this together. So yeah, I think that was the thing. But once we said that, the business started flowing very nicely, and then it's beautiful and it's perfect, and it was just a lot of like life and transitions that we were going through, and we call it like PTSD after the whole corporate thing, and then also me getting another life in my routine, because I was solo with my husband, but like. And I work with my husband, but at the same time, it's like I was just like running on my own, and Carolina too. So we're like, okay, it's like a marriage, you have to get to know each other. So I think that number one, love, and number two, respect, and the rest, you can do it.
Well, you guys have touched on so many things that are core into why I make what I make and why Powerful Ladies exists as well. You've mentioned, being a dreamer and a doer and, sharing people's stories and showing them what's possible. And for me, it really is a place of love and commitment, right? It breaks my heart when I hear a woman say, I can't, or it breaks my heart when somebody wants to give up on their dream because they just don't know how. Like that's what leads all of my coaching businesses, right? It's like, no, like I know how to do it. Like, let me show you how, right? When you were coming up with Pinkafé and you decided to do it, like what was the frustration or the pain point that you guys were like, we have to do this because, like, what was the missing in the world where you knew the world needed Pinkafé?
I think it is understanding our why. Why are we doing this? I think that's exactly your question. But I think what we said that was missing was more representation, more Latina representation, yes, but also in general, really good empowerment information for women. We felt that a lot of what's out there for women is just makeup, fashion, and really quick things, recipes, extras, but not really like touching the problems and what is in your heart, like from how we were raised and how can we unlearn things from culture that our parents and our families engraved in us, and also issues, that we all go through and then we're quiet. So we said, you know what? I think that Pinkafé can be the bridge to actually unite different cultures and be able to speak up and bring these subjects to, out there so that we can have a conversation and we can really put into the light. I think that's kind of like a little recap, but Carolina probably can explain to more.
Yeah, I think when we realized that a lot of women were going through just different life situations or life moments, beautiful and at the same time frustrating at times, like a job change, like a marriage, like we said, okay, what is missing here? Because we did our research. We're like, maybe we can collaborate with another platform. Maybe we can, just not just start something from scratch, but collaborate. But we were like, okay, I feel like there's something here. There's a need. Like Nati said, we want to be that bridge between different cultures, but at the same time, we want to offer through women's stories. We want to offer just different tips and tricks about just how it is to thrive in your job and your career, start something new, but at the same time, taking care of your health, your mental health, your physical health. We want to be that one platform that also teaches you about having balance, because we have had to learn the hard way. Also, we've been through, just burnout or moments where we kind of don't pay attention to an issue that's very important for health issues or something like that, to be focusing on work. So when we started going through a lot of these things ourselves, we're like, okay, we need to start first sharing our story. Second, interviewing other women that also have different stories. And through all these different stories and information, we can find that balance, and we can help other women just how to navigate through life. And, not neglect one side, and embrace both of your sides, your business side and your personal side. So I think that was the why. We wanted to kind of have this marriage between the information and, just provide it for women.
Yeah. I know that when I started down this journey, the part that has, made me just light up that we were, that I was doing it, that we made the podcast, that we had our membership, like, every time I see a woman who shares the story where she's moved, right? You said, can I cry earlier? And I'm like, yes, please. If we're crying, we're talking about real stuff. Like, yes. But I just love seeing the echo that's in the world, either going out from a conversation we've had, or the little bit that I get bounced back where I'm like, yes, okay, this is why we're doing this. What have been some moments through Pinkafé where you've gotten that reassurance that we are doing the right thing?
Oh, wow. Actually, just recently, we put a post on social media very innocently, because we've gone through this. And the post, it was a little clip of a video from the TV show that said something that happened to us a lot, especially with our family or our circle. Even Carolina mentioned it earlier about like, hey, mija, when are you getting married? When are you having kids? You are already, you are already older. When are you doing this? Especially that subject with kids. We've gone through it so much. And then Carolina is single, and then it's, when are you having a boyfriend? When are you getting married? When are you getting engaged? Then married. It's like, it never ends. I'm married. When are you having kids? Why don't you have kids? So, and we had to stop our parents, and we're like, okay, guys, we are older. We are our own, persons. We can think and we can decide for ourselves, not society and not you guys. It was hard. And of course, I'm doing a quick recap right now. It was really touchy, really cute with them, because for them, it's their dream. They're like, but all my neighbors and all my family has grandchildren. Where are my grandchildren? Blah, blah, blah. We're like, maybe never, and it's hard. It's really, especially for Latino families. So to make the story short, we put that post where like we were saying exactly this. Oh my God, we went through it with our parents, and then so many people out there. And Carolina said something like, we have choices, and we can, we can decide when to get married, when to have kids, when to do everything. And when we posted that, we saw the reaction of a lot of women, because we've been picking up back in our social media. So it's been slowly but surely getting there, people comments and stuff. But this one post was like blew up. And then people shared it. And it's the one that has the most shared views and stuff. And then we were like, oh my God, we kind of like created a little monster. And then people is talking about that. And then they were like mad in a way, like, I relate so much. Society cannot dictate your future. Yes, my family did that to me, and da da da. And probably some people will see it and they don't comment, but they're like, I had children because my parents told me. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know their reality, but probably a lot of people just settle. They just settle because since my sister did it, since my aunt did it, my cousin did it, then I have to do it because that's normal and that's what society dictates. So you just get a job, then you just have children and you buy a house and a dog and you're happy forever. And that's definitely
not to say that that's not the right thing to do, that, you know?
I was going to say exactly that. That is beautiful if that's your dream. Because I have friends that their dream is to be a mom and have a house. I'm like, oh my God, that's beautiful. And that's okay. But that hasn't been Carolina's and mine path or our dream first, because it is still our dream too, just not first. And then, so that was pretty impactful. And so to answer your question, when we saw that, we're like, oh my God, we are doing something that is really changing lives and making people think. So we really like that. What do you feel, Caro, with that kind of example, or if you have a different example?
No, I was actually going to mention the same. We're very connected. I was going to mention the same example because going back to the parent situation or the society pressure, you know, that sometimes women have. Sometimes, I think way back in the day was, if you were 20-something, 25, and you weren't married and had kids already, it was a big deal, you know, in your family. Now, okay, it's a little more normal if you're early 30s or you're 30 and you're starting to start a family and stuff like that. But we actually went back to our parents and we're like, hey, you guys were the ones who said, you guys go to college first, make sure you study, you create your own empire, you make your own money, you're an independent woman before you can rely on a man, or before you just, they put,
don't get pregnant.
There's the saying in Spanish, don't get pregnant, put rocks in your pockets. I don't know if it's the same saying in English. Okay. So kind of like,
so you can
no te pongas piedras en los bolsillos. Yeah. Do not put rocks in your pockets so you can actually fly, you know? So whenever they would see us kind of like, you know, dating a boyfriend that wasn't like, they're like, okay, look at your future. Make sure you know what you're doing now and stuff like that. So we went back to them. We're like, you guys created these monsters. You guys created these independent, powerful women with big dreams, you know, and I do want kids. If I can I have a boyfriend now, but if I could like get married and have kids, I want kids soon, you know, but maybe my path is, you know, God will decide when I will find all of that, you know? So we had to tell them, hey, this is happening for us, just not now. You guys actually told us to be independent and create something for yourself. So that was what we're doing. So you guys hold on the grandchildren topic, you know? So
yeah. And they were like, definitely. Oh yeah, we did that. And then they were like, okay, we understand. And they were so cute. They understood. They're like close on the subject of the grandchildren and asking. And then now they're like traveling the world, because if the children come, we'll come back and visit you. But not like waiting, because they actually, when they moved to LA, not that they moved just so that they can take care of my children, but sometimes some little sentences, some here and there is like, I'm already here in LA. So in case that you have, I'm already here and I can help you. I never told you to move to LA to help me with my children that I don't have. It was hilarious, but now they're good and they're better, and they're now again boyfriend girlfriend. My parents, they are 40 years together, and then they're just traveling and stuff. So they're retired and they're super happy, and they're proud, and we want to continue making them proud. But yeah, for sure, we are educating them so they can also educate other families who are going through it, and that we've been going through it together. And to just let people choose, you know, and not pressure so much. Sometimes parents, you know, pressure, and then unfortunately some kids listen and they wanted to be a lawyer and they end up being a doctor because their parents was a doctor and stuff like that. So for us is our message too, you know, just let it go, let it fly, and we'll see what you know, what life brings. So
Well, and there's so much in that as well of like choosing the small things too, right? Because whether it's our parents or our friends or society or you name it, there's so much pressure, I think, on all of us to do these things that we should. When I always am telling people, like, don't do what you should, do what you could, right? Like, what do you really want? And there's a couple exercises I'll take people through of really looking at everything in your life and being like, did you choose it? It's not wrong or right, but did you at least choose it? Did you choose that city? Did you choose your house? Did you choose even what you're eating sometimes, right? Like there's so many things that happen to us throughout a day and a month and a lifetime that we don't actively choose. We don't stop and say, wait, do I want this? Like it just showed up and now I'm swept up into it. And it can happen with relationships or careers or all sorts of things. And it can be intimidating, I think, for people who haven't gone through a process of really looking at their life and being intentional. But once you do, like it's one of the core things that I see over and over again with successful people like yourselves and others. It's like you're choosing it. Like you're being really active in, is this what I want? And if you want it, like, okay, we're going to go 100 miles an hour. Let's go. And there's something about that, you know, that flying that you were talking about, you know, when there's momentum and it's lighter. You know, people ask like, what's, you know, how do you know the universe has your back? And I'm like, well, I don't know. But when my pockets are lighter, when I'm moving with speed and momentum, like things happen that I don't know if they would have otherwise. Has that been your experience as well?
Yes, I think we all have to move at the speed that our heart tells us to. But at the same time, I feel like lately, maybe it's my own experience, but also we're all in this social media spectrum. It's a whole world. And sometimes it could be a little too much or a lot of information just going different ways. And I've also heard it from women, just to kind of be devil's advocate as well. I've heard it from women who love their 9-to-5 job, who do not necessarily want to go the entrepreneurial way, who started maybe this journey through health or changing their eating habits, but at the same time, they can eat out during the weekend, you know? So for some reason, I've seen this kind of culture that, okay, you have to do all these things, or you have to be superwoman, and you have to be, but at the same time, okay, if you don't want to be that, it's your choice to also love your corporate job. Keep escalating the corporate ladder, you know, just keep pursuing that as long as it's what's in your heart, what's in your dream, and what's going to really move you and what you're passionate about, you know?
Yes, definitely. I think for me, I'm in 100% agreement with Carolina, but I think one thing for me that has always helped me and guided me is to really believe that I can do it. Believe in my dreams. Believe that there is one thing in the Bible that is like, it's already done. So when you are able to understand that and really run with it, I think for me, again, I always feel like I always had the vision, because since I was a little girl, I always knew what I wanted. I wanted to be an artist, and I didn't know I wanted to be a producer. That just kind of like developed, but I always wanted the arts in that. So when talking about like, don't put don't put rocks in your pocket so you can fly and really fly, was really, understanding that, going back to the little girl and always, what do I really want? Where are you going? How are you going to make that happen? But then it's like, do you believe that you can be an actress? Do you believe? And as I grew up older, okay, I can be a producer. I can make things happen. So, but it's been always like believing, and also helping others believe too in themselves. I have also feel really passionate about helping others, believe that they can do it, and pushing them and guiding them too. I relate a lot with you too in your coaching, because not that I have an official coaching business, but innocently with words and some things that I say, but also like leading by example, by living the way that I live. I have been able to help others and they actually go and take action. And the way that has worked for me is that I have always had a plan from early age, even if it was a vague plan, want to be an artist, want to be a singer, an actress, the arts, how does that work? How does it? So it's always been a little caminito, a little path, and like with steps and stuff like that. But it's always been, like you said, my choice. Like it's my choice because I've been in crossroads where it's like you have a choice right now. You get to pick to be an artist who is uncertain, you don't know, or you can go and work at the reception. They're offering you a job at the reception desk of somebody, and then you can become a, I don't know, lawyer. Who knows? I never wanted to be a lawyer, but because I always wanted to be an artist. So anyway, but other people wanted to do choices for me, and I had to fight, and I have to like, no, I am certain that I want to be an artist. Are you sure? Because that's not secure. Yes. And then I took that road, and it was bumpy and it was hard at first because it was my early 20s. I'm in my mid 30s. So it's been a long time. So, but I feel now that I'm in this future and living it is like, I was right. But it was because I had this certainty and I always believed in my choices. And some choices haven't been 100% super, like 100% on point because I have take curves and stuff, but I always come back to the dream, come back to the little girl. What do you want?
Yes.
And stuff like that. So that I think that's one advice that I would tell people, like, do you really believe? Like, I can do it. Yeah, maybe I'm not sure. What do you think? Do you believe? If you believe, you can do it. So that is what has helped me really spread my wings and fly for real.
I'm feeling like we are sisters on the same path because one of the biggest things that I love asking people, which you just answered, was like, what would 8-year-old you imagine you were doing? What did you want to be when you were 8? So I think there's something magical about that time period. And of course, some people did not have a good time as a child. But for those I think for everyone, whether you had a good childhood or a rough childhood, there's something magical about that age where you have enough of the child wonder and hopes and dreams and enough of seeing a little bit of what practicality might be. And there's magic in that connection. And for me, I know that I'm living the right path if I'm making 8-year-old me proud. Like, am I still having fun? Is there still play in what I'm doing? Am I being curious or nerdy or, anything was possible for me at that time. So if I'm listening to that part of my heart, I'm going to be okay. And I love that you mentioned since you've been 8 that you've just kind of known. I am a big planner. To me, that's how I take the risk down. I'm like, we can make anything happen. We just need a plan. So I really see that, but being a planner doesn't mean that you see everything clearly. You just maybe see what's on the other side of the bridge. And you're like, I don't know what that looks like, but I know I can get there. And if I take a step, I believe the stone will show up, right? I know that the stone will be there for me to walk on. I can't see it right now, but I have to just go. And so I love that visual that you shared of the caminita because we don't see every step. And I think that's where some people get stuck. They think that those of us who are doing, what we want to do and living lives that they might want to aspire to, they think we have all the things figured out. And we don't.
No, we don't.
And if we did, we probably wouldn't want that path, right? We didn't want the one that was like, okay, if you do this and then do this and do this, like, we don't want the one where we maybe know all the things that are going to happen, but we want the one that's like, okay, it's over there. I don't know where yet, but I think we can get there. Let's go. You guys also mentioned earlier that you tried to work together and it hasn't worked until now. And that's another thing that I think is so important for people to hear because, it's easy to give up on a dream or a business or whatever your passion is, but it might not be the right time or place or combination. So what is it about how you both operate where you kept saying, all right, not this one, we'll try again. Not this one, we'll try again.
I want to comment a little bit more, and I think it's going to lead up to this question that you're asking now, because you guys made me tear up when you guys were talking about the little girl and the 8-year-old and what would you say? Because I feel you guys have had the plan. And I feel like I'm going to speak for those women who do not have a plan, or I do now, but I didn't for a long time. And I feel like this is actually has been a little bit of our dancing journey with my sister and I, because like she has mentioned, since she was little, she was focused. She was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be an artist. I'm going to be an actress. Me and my family tell me, and I speak very openly about it now, that I was a distracted sister. I was maybe a little bit, just, I like this and I like that and I like that. And I was, just kind of like following what's the saying? Following the little light, wherever the light goes.
Little light, whatever.
Yeah. So I was my mom says that I was a little rapper, that I didn't let her do my hair, that I just wanted to do my thing. And at the same time, I was very focused on school. I was very distracted in life, but I was, I love to read and write. I've always loved to write. Maybe that's where my love for journalism and for writing came, because I always kept a journal. I still keep journals, and I wake up in the morning and like, that's my first thing I do. But coming back to this question, I feel like there's this dance between two different people and two different paths, because at the same time that it was kind of like, a little bit scattered. Whenever there was a time to make a decision or to make a career move, then I was like, okay, no, we got to jump and still do it. Even though I've been the one that has jumped without having a plan, taking that risk. And I'm going to move to New York City because I got offered a job. I have no friends. I have no family, but I'm going to go live in New York. I'm going to figure it out, So to those women that maybe have been those risk takers without even a plan, there's also a way. And now coming back to us together and bringing all these different life experiences and just different career paths that we've had. And just, I feel like now it's kind of working because we both bring two different things to the table, being on a personal level and on a professional level. Now is where we're finding that dance, because we had to go through 30 something years of life to come to this point. And to answer your question, I feel like that has showed all throughout our careers and our lives, and even starting Pinkafé, because we went through different times that we wanted to start it and then it didn't work out and we tried again. But I feel like there was this one dream that we just kept it along. Okay, we were said, okay, we're not going to work together again. This is not going to happen. Let's just go on our ways, and we did. We separated. I mean, not personally, but just we said, okay, we're not going to work for a couple of years. And then something will come back and spark even if we didn't want it, maybe on my end, we're like, okay, I still want to do something to tell women's stories, maybe a podcast, maybe and then Natalia was at the moment that, again, she wanted to start something, or we wanted to, come together again. So I feel like there was always the dream and the plan has always been there, but we just weren't ready at the same time. So yeah, I feel like now has been that time that we're finding that. And I think you would probably agree with me that it has been a kind of like a bumpy road, but the dream has always been there.
Yeah. No, so somebody told us something one day, and they said it was the right thing at the wrong time. Mm-hmm. And now is the right thing at the right time. And it's exactly what Carolina said. We were just not mature yet enough to really take on so much responsibility to really touch other people's lives. So we needed to really get together with our own lives so that we can really lead by example. Because how are we going to be sharing people's stories and telling you should do this and you should plan and you should, if we don't plan, or if we don't have a healthy life, or if we, whatever, so we really wanted to be that first, and then come and bring it to the table, plus dig on people's stories and then share them. So not to say that we're anything close to perfect or anything like that, but I think Pinkafé was born 12 years ago. In 2011, I think, is when we first said Pinkafé. And in a minute, if we want, we tell you where the Pinkafé word came up. But we decided, okay, Pinkafé, after a whole search and stuff. Hey, where is mine? Thank you.
Yeah. Shameless plug. Shameless plug.
I know, right? I know.
Sorry,
Some people were
continue.
like, where is the merch? Where is the merch? We're like, oh, the merch. So another thing to do, planning. Okay, cool. But so 12 years ago, we created it. And, I was in my late 20s, or just getting out from this whole beginning of my other crazy life of like being an entrepreneur or like artist. And I was still in Miami, all these things. It was just so much. And then, and Carolina was just graduating college, or maybe still going through college, I think, because we had a quick event. And then we started kind of doing it. And then we're like, okay, there's something here. But then it's like every time we tried to do something and start it, it was kind of like blowing up on us, and meaning that people were liking it. So we're like, wait, we only meant to do a quick event with some people. And like, okay, what else are you doing? What is the next one? We're like, what? So I was just learning and starting more of like being stronger as a producer, because I was first like assisting and then coordinating, then in the creativity. And then it's like, oh, it's called producing. Let me go study production stuff. So I was going through that still. And then Carolina was like, okay, I need to graduate. Let's put it on the side. And then I'm like, okay, let's put it on the side. So it was kind of like a path like that. So nothing really bad happened. It was just that we were not ready. We're like, okay, we put it on the side. Let's move on. Then I moved to LA and like that. So it was like a whole caminito again. And then we're like, okay, if we're really going to do it, we have to do it right and we have to be ready. And then we said, let Carolina go fly and do your thing. But then she told me the same thing. Get more mature and learn more. Pinkafé is always going to be there. We bought our domains, we registered, so to make sure that this little dream is going to be put on a little glass, beautiful box and put it on the side, because somewhere far away, we felt that we still wanted it, because it's such a beautiful thing. It's beautiful name. It's catchy. So many things around it. And then we're like, we'll come back to it. But then we needed to do some growth, healing, personal, married, these, so many things. And then Carolina is the one who, I was kind of like already flipping the page and then moving on. And like, I'm in Hollywood, I'll do my thing. And then production company, all the stuff. And then she came back and she's like, you know what? I want to do a podcast with a friend, but it doesn't feel right. I just feel like I just need my sister and I want to do it with you. And already 2 years had gone by. So we were already good, healing. We became friends, like closer. We're getting to know each other as more as sisters, not as working yet. So the other issues or things came out later, but we're like, I'm like, okay. And then I had a little deja vu. I'm like, working again together. What does that mean? All these things. And I was a little hesitant. And she's like, no. But I saw her growth and she was hungry and she was so humble and so beautiful. And then I'm like, this is what I want to at the end of the day, And I'm like, okay, she's more mature. She's did her thing. She was in this huge, beautiful job in television and in like a legit thing. So she has gone through so much. So her skin was thicker. Her strength was like that. So I felt like my strength was going to be really good with her strength. And we were two like really like foundational columns we were going to be for this building. And then, and we said, let's do it. And then things started happening little by little by other people who started believing in us. And we're like, oh, so we're doing it. Oh, so it's happening. So we were invited to the Latina Power. It's another platform that is amazing and they have supported us. And innocently, without us saying officially we're back, it's like we were in this synchronization and this beautiful event with women. And we're like, oh, this is Pinkafé. This is what we want. Okay, we're back. And that year is when we kind of like just said, okay, let's do it. And then we came back and it's been a beautiful journey. And, at the end of the day, the vision was always there and we always wanted to come back anyway. And finally, right now is the right thing in the right time. So, yeah.
We finally live in the same state. We live in the same city. That was another thing. When we started the podcast, we were 3 hours away because I was still living in New York. Natalia was living here in LA. So we had time against us. We were a 3-hour difference, so she either had to wake up really early or I had to stay up until 11 p.m. or midnight, just so we can get kind of
after work,
anything done together before work or after work. But we were still committed, and it was a good full year that we did this long distance. And we're like, okay, we're doing it. Long distance, just different, so many things against us. But we're like, okay, this is happening. And until we kind of got it off the ground. I was traveling here or she would go there, but we were, we're committed to this. We made it happen like that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It was the same for the Powerful Ladies podcast. We had talked about it. And then Jordan moved to LA and I was like, okay, like you're here and you got a job in podcasting. Great. It's time.
Oh my God.
Amazing. Yeah. Oh, we have to get together.
Cool. Yes.
Once the world opened up.
I didn't know you were in LA.
Here in LA.
Yeah.
I know. I was going to ask. I wasn't sure you were in LA. That's great.
I'm in Orange County and Jordan is in LA. So we used to be, we used to record in a studio in LA pre-COVID. And since then we've been doing Zooms with everybody. But yeah, so some nice. LA, Orange County, California opportunities. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Good. Yeah, we're here.
Well, we ask everybody on the podcast, when you hear the words powerful and ladies, what do they mean to you separately? And what do they mean to you when they're combined? And does that change your definition of them?
Powerful and lady.
You want to go first or do you want me to go?
I'll go first.
I was talking a lot. Sorry about that. I took the floor.
No, it's fine. Powerful lady. I think when you put it together, it's magic. I just feel like those two words together are magic. We already, as a woman, as a lady, we are power. We have so many abilities. We can do so many things. We are multitaskers. We can be mothers. We can be entrepreneurs. We can be professionals. We can be a sister, a girlfriend, So I feel that as a woman, I'm very proud to be a woman. I'm so glad that God made me a woman because it's just, I embrace it. I love it. I live it every day. And it's just, I feel it's magic. And when you put power to it, it's just all around a beautiful thing.
Yes, for me, powerful. I always believed in the power of the superhero Wonder Woman. Mm-hmm. So just with that posture and attitude, and if you carry your life with that power, that for me, again, is like believing in yourself, believing in that power. And then, powerful is like women, no matter what, we're so powerful. We have so much, to give. We are life givers. We are, wisdom. And that's one thing that I always gone through, because with me in everything that means like power is like believing in your dreams, believing that if you have a vision, you have a plan again, but like more like a vision stuff, you have power because you're clear on where you're going, what you want to do. And then when I put ladies next to each other, is that if you want to succeed in life, you cannot do it solo. You have to do it with a team. You have to do it with people who believe in you. And when you do it together, it's like you become more powerful, and there's a strength and a rock that no one and nobody can really damage or, say no to. So I think that it's a beautiful, two words, a beautiful sentence. Is that a sentence, right? It's just like a title, I guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It's a beautiful statement too. It's beautiful to understand what can, ladies together can do, because everybody's power comes together and becomes a powerful source. So I think that for me is the meaning of that.
Well, and for everyone who's listening, if you want a trick to be more confident and ready, if you have to go on stage or do an interview or anywhere where you need extra confidence, you can literally do the superhero Wonder Woman pose, and physiologically, it gives you more endorphins and more confidence. So I love that it symbolizes it, but it actually works physiologically as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it definitely does. Yeah, for Caroline and
Big plus if you do
work so much. Mm-hmm.
Big plus if you do it in front of a mirror. Because I've done it. Okay, I'm ready to send this email. This is going to happen. I can do this. You do it in front of the computer, you get that power. But if you do it also in front of the mirror in the morning, you know, for your confidence, just wake up and be like, hey, you look good. You look good and you're powerful, you know?
Yeah.
It helps a lot.
You look good, you feel good, you do good. Let's go.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, we also ask everybody on the podcast where they rank themselves on the Powerful Lady scale. 0 being average everyday human and 10 being the most powerful lady you can imagine. Where would you put yourself on the Powerful Lady scale?
From 1 to 10?
Mm-hmm.
The first one was being
0, which is an average everyday human.
Okay. I would say 8.5. I'd like to really leave a little bit of the human in there because I'm already so much out there. And I feel so powerful and unstoppable and stuff, but sometimes because the body is flesh and we have to really take care, I need to remember and tell Natalia, hey, you're human, okay? So I like to leave my 2 points in there, 1.5 in there. So
I love it.
That's a great score. I second that motion. I would say I am a 7 going on 10. Because I feel like I'm still in a journey to learn every day. I do feel that I am 100% human, and every day I have flaws, and I am, working through things. I am working through just learning and every day growing and to become more powerful. And I feel like we're never going to start learning. So maybe one day we'll get to 10, but then the next day or the next year is going to come back to 8. And I feel like that every woman, as powerful as we want to be, I feel like also having that kind of authenticity and giving yourself some grace also when it's not 110%, where you're not giving it 100%. I feel like that's so important to kind of like say, hey girl, you're doing your best and you're working towards that 10, but it is okay if you're at a 7, at 8.5, at 9, or a 5, and just give yourself some grace. So I'm going to say 7 going on 10.
Beautiful. Love it. Taking notes.
Well, it is such a pleasure to meet the two of you as powerful women yourselves, as a power couple, as a power sister couple, and just to find fellow women who are share a similar purpose to empower and inspire and share with women that, us together is magic, that everyone can achieve what they want. I'm so honored to have you guys on the show and to just echo louder together that, you can do it and it's fun, and like, come join us, come hang out. It's so fun over here. So I love all of that. Thank you. For everybody who wants to know more about Pinkafé, wants to join you guys, where are all the places that they can find you and support you?
Yes. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Kara, for having us on the Powerful Ladies podcast. And for all of your listeners and the beautiful, powerful ladies that are here with us, you can find us on Instagram. We're at Pinkafé. Pinkafé spelled without the C. So it's just Pinkfe. So Pinkafé, we also have our podcast on every platform, on Google, on Apple, on every single one. And our TV show is on LATV Network. So you can find LATV Network, or on latv.com, you can find full episodes. And personally, my social media is at Carolina Trejos. You can just find it by my name.
Yes, and my social media is at Natalia Trejos-Herrera. And you can also find Pinkafé on every digital platform, Apple TV, Roku, and all of those. And then you can go to the website where to watch also in your region. So, but in the website, like Carolina said, you can actually see the entire episode there too. So you can find us everywhere. Thank you so much, Cara, for having us. I really feel like this podcast has been, I think, the one that we've been like really so transparent in being able to open up and see where we are too. It felt a little bit therapeutic too. It was just like, oh my God,
Perfect.
it's been beautiful, and we relate so much with you and with Pinkafé. You are definitely the kind of Pinkafesa we like to call. Hopefully you can come on our podcast as a guest too,
Yes.
and then we'll show you what to be a Pinkafesa.
Yes. No, I would love that.
We'd love to have you. I feel I was going through all your social media and some other episodes, and I feel that your questions are amazing, and you're really teaching women not only to be powerful, but also just to live authentically and just be themselves, and just a little bit of that whole, what it is to be a woman and a lady. So thank you for that, for having this platform for other women and for us, for hearing our story. Thank you so much.
Yes, no, it's been a pleasure. And I'm sure, especially now that we know that we're all local, we can do some powerful lady pink cafes, combos and everything else. Like, it's nice to, as you mentioned before, it's important to find the people who are on the path that you are, because there's more magic and more power when we come together. And I'm just so happy that there are women like you in the world who are out there to change the world and make a difference, and that now this audience gets to know about you too. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us, and we'll be back anytime you want us.
Thank you. Thank you all for listening to today's episode. All the links to connect with Carolina and Natalia are in the show notes at thepowerfulladies.com/podcast. There you can also leave comments and ask questions about this episode. Want more powerful ladies? Come join us on Instagram at Powerful Ladies, where you can also find some free downloads to start being powerful today. Subscribe to this podcast and help us connect with more listeners by leaving us a 5-star rating and review. If you're looking to connect directly with me, maybe for personal coaching or more about our workshops or courses, visit caraduffy.com. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Until then, I hope you're awesome and up to something and being powerful in your life.